Welcome back to No Bias Hoops. Today we're talking about the Kevin Durant trade and how he was traded to the Houston Rockets. So the trade is Kevin Durant for Jalen Green, Dillon Brooks, the 10th overall pick in this draft, as well as 5 second-round picks. And in my opinion, this is an insanely good deal for Phoenix. I think Houston overpaid. Look, Jalen Green looked like an all-star near the end of last season. And they are trading Jalen Green, Dillon Brooks, who you can say what you want, but he's still a pretty good player, the 10th overall pick, and 5 second-round picks, which don't seem that valuable, but 5 second-round picks can buy you a first-round pick. And they're trading that for a 35-year-old who has been injured a lot recently. And look, if they had Kevin Durant this season, they would have beat the Warriors. They just didn't have a player who you give them the ball and they're scoring. If they had that, I think they would have beat the Warriors. Because late games, they just did not play well. And this gives them a vet who is one of the best late game performers. And putting him on this team, keeping Sengun with a starting lineup of potentially Fred VanVleet, Amen Thompson, Kevin Durant, Jabari Smith Jr., Otari Easton, and Alperen Sengun is incredible. That team is almost guaranteed to be a top 2 team in the West without injuries, and that's great. As the other great thing about that is that they kept him away from the Spurs, and they're going to have a real chance to contend next season, but there's just giving up Jalen Green. Jalen Green could become something really dang good. He's only 24, and that's why I love the trade for Phoenix. The only issue is you now have Devin Booker, Jalen Green, and Bradley Beal as your best 3 players. They're all shooting guards. You don't have a true point guard, and you don't have any good small forward, power forward, center. Sure, you can say Nick Richards is pretty good. Ryan Dunn has been pretty good at point guard, also Guardo, but you really don't. And that's why this might sound crazy, but I think they're going to trade Devin Booker or Jalen Green because they can throw him in another deal. Look, Bradley Beal is going to be impossible to trade. They do not have their first-round picks going forward. So the only way that this trade ends up being worth it is if they go and trade Devin Booker or Jalen Green. Now, let's say it's Devin Booker, because trading Jalen Green right after getting him, I don't think that doesn't happen often. So where could he possibly be traded? Devin Booker, I'm going to say Brooklyn. And the reason why is Brooklyn has a good amount of picks from lots of trades they've done. I don't think they have Phoenix's picks anymore. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure they traded Phoenix's picks to Houston for Brooklyn's for their picks back, because Brooklyn had their picks in the James Harden deal. So I'm pretty sure they got their picks back from Houston by trading Phoenix's picks. But they could potentially give up Cam Thomas, Nick Claxton, or Cam Johnson. If they were to get Cam Johnson, Nick Claxton, and 3 first-round picks, yeah, it's an underpay. Devin Booker has been really, really, really good at times. But that gives them, I guess I don't love that trade. It's interesting because if their lineup was Bradley Beal, Jalen Green, Cam Johnson, Nick Richards, and Nick Claxton, that's pretty good. That's probably a playoff team in the West. But that's not going to win a championship, in my opinion. And that's also not going to give them enough back for Devin Booker. If Devin Booker became fully available, I think a good amount of teams would be calling. You could also do, I feel like this is maybe even more unlikely, but what if they traded John Morant for Devin Booker for Jaren Jackson Jr.? It sends the Grizzlies in a different direction. And it would be interesting. I don't think that happens, because then you have Ja and Devin Booker. Also not the best fit. Devin Booker's a little bigger, so he probably could play next to Ja. But I don't know. I don't know what's next for Phoenix after this deal. They really are going to have to make one or two more moves because you cannot have Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, and Jalen Green. It's not going to work. And if they do have that, they're going to be really bad next year. Unless somehow that works, but they don't have any front court depth because, like, the Lakers looked pretty good after trading for Luka. In the playoffs, they got eaten alive, and that's with LeBron being a power forward. Like, this team, their best front court player is Nick Richards, who was a backup center for the Hornets last season. Like, that's pretty crazy. So Phoenix has a long way to go after this trade. I like it for Houston, definitely an overpay, but without injuries, this is going to be one of the best teams in the West. And, you know, with injuries, maybe Kevin Durant asked out after the year, they don't get much back. It's going to look like a pretty bad trade because of how good Jalen Green has been. And that 10th pick Phoenix could hit on. So it's definitely a little bit of a risky trade for Houston, but it could definitely pay off. Phoenix, I feel like they might have been able to get something better, but maybe not. They did get Jalen Green. Like this is what I wanted them to do. They went and got a good player as well as picks, so they're gonna bolster their depth. They're gonna bolster their young players and 5 second-round picks. You know that can be traded in a trade for a lot. That can be traded for first-round pick. Straight up, Philly traded, I believe, 3 second-round picks for a first, or maybe it was the opposite. And you know, I like this trade. I don't know if it's gonna end up being the right move, but let me know what you think. Thank you so much for watching, and see you next time on Nobody's Hoops.